So you finally decided to hire an assistant, but now what? Where do you even start? Well, first of all, if you haven't already, go back to episode 17, Is It Time to Hire an Assistant? Listen and do the worksheet. It's so important that you do this step first because we need to know that you are actually ready to hire an assistant and you're not just missing some other key elements that could be helping you. Once that's done, you can get started with how to find your assistant. First of all, you're going to need to define the role. You have to know exactly what they're going to be doing and what they're going to be taking off of your plate. In episode 17, we talk about the time audit. So you're going to be auditing your time and making sure you are documenting every single thing that you're spending your time on so that you can pick that apart and then decide, what are you giving to this assistant when they come in? What kind of things are they taking off of your plate? And what are their routines going to be? Having a project or task list before they even get started so that you're not wasting their time and yours. You don't want to hire them and have them come in and be paid by the hour and sitting around waiting for you to give them things to do because you're not ready for them. Before you even post that you're hiring, you want to make sure that you have your job description created. So knowing exactly what type of person you need for the role and what personality traits makes that person a good candidate. Are they going to be the opposite of you, or do you want another you? Chances are you need somebody who's completely opposite from you. You don't want to have somebody who is really strong in the same areas that you are because that's not going to be helpful. You don't want to be hiring your new best friend. You want to hire the right person for the job. You don't need another you. You need somebody who's strong where you're weak and they love to do the things that you hate doing. Chances are, if you're an artist, you don't like doing paperwork or numbers or spreadsheets. And there are people out there, believe it or not, that love that shit. And that's the kind of person that you're looking for. You don't want another person like you that's like, ugh, I don't want to do numbers and spreadsheets and Google Drive, and I don't want to deal with any of that. You want the opposite. So creating this job description is going to attract that right person for you. It should be thorough and clear and real, and that is going to help you narrow down the results that you get, the people that are going to be applying for it, and weeding out the ones that you don't even want to waste your time on. Using a very accurate and clear description is going to scare the wrong people away, and you want that because you don't want to be sitting in interviews with people who should have never even gotten to that point. For example, when I was hiring for my shop manager, I put in the job description that I am not looking for an artist. I was very, very clear about it. It's almost better if you have absolutely no artistic ability whatsoever. A lot of people would see this job description or this job posting for a manager of a tattoo shop and they think immediately they have to be an artist. They have to be artistic and they want to really show that in their application that they're this very artsy person. And I'm immediately turning those people down because I don't need another artist in here. We have plenty of those. We have plenty of people who are all over the fucking place. We need someone organized and just very into doing paperwork type stuff and a normal person, not another head in the clouds type person. We need someone to wrangle us in. I think I even put must be an animal lover because working with artists is like herding cats. And that got a lot of people applying that were very good at that sort of thing. So that's exactly what you want. So weeding out the people that you don't need and the people that are not going to make it through your interview anyway. And letting them know, is there a potential for growth or not? So my biggest issue with not wanting someone who's artistic is not that I think that you can't be both. I don't think that there has to be people out there who are very artistic and also can stay organized. I'm sure there's not many, but it's not that I don't think they exist. It's that I don't want someone to come in as my shop manager and 6 months down the road, they want to be a tattoo artist. And they're like, I've just wasted all of this time and training and poured into this person just for them to then become a tattoo artist. I need somebody who wants this to be their career and this is the thing that they want to do and where they want to be. So I made that very clear that this is not a stepping stone to an apprenticeship. This will never be a tattoo artist position. This is the job. So I want to be very clear about the potential of growth. And I also want to be really clear that if this is a position that doesn't exist right now and I'm building it, that they know that. I'm very clear about, hey, this didn't exist before. You're going to be helping, like part of your job is helping me to build this position and figure out the routines and what your tasks are going to be. And like that is laid out for them. That might not, you might think that would scare people away, but there are people that's probably exciting to. They're like, they want to be there just from the ground, building it with you. And that could be exciting to them. So you want to put that in there and just be honest, because you don't want them to come in thinking these are the expectations of the job. And once they get through the training and everything, realizing there's parts of this job that they don't like and they weren't expecting and you didn't tell them about. That's a quick way to lose somebody. You want to be very clear about what the job's going to be as much as you know, because if you're building the job, you might not know that, but explain that, like, hey, this isn't the entire job. There might be more things required. We're still in the working through the process of figuring out what this job actually is. As long as you say that, and they might be open to that, they're going to be fine with it. But don't try to glaze over the unpleasant parts of the job. Like if a majority of the job is doing paperwork, fucking say that, because you don't want to be surprising them and then having them unhappy. Once you have your job description figured out and clear, it's time to run some kind of ad for it. There's lots of different places to run ads. I've had really good experience with Indeed so far. I've heard LinkedIn could be a place that you could find some people. I personally don't use LinkedIn, so I don't even know anything about it to recommend it to you. But I had really great results with Indeed, especially if you want someone who is professional. And they just kind of tend to be more quality applicants, I feel like, rather than just, going off of your social media, which is not a problem. Like you can use your social media, and I do as well, and my email list. Don't be afraid to post it out there. They don't know unless you tell them that you're hiring. Leverage your client reach and your friends and friends of friends. You never know who your clients are or who they know. They could be a great fit, so don't overlook that. But don't let them just like skip ahead just because you know them or you're friends with them. You have to make them go through the same steps as everybody else, go through the same interview process. And you want to notice these red flags out the gate in the application and be looking for them. So when I'm looking through applications, I'm looking for things like, are they using complete sentences? How is their typing? Are they using punctuation? Are they using the letter U instead of the word U when they're typing? These are important to me, especially if my assistant's going to be sending a lot of emails out. They have to be able to type. They have to be able to spell. They can't be missing these things. Are they skipping questions? You would not believe the amount of people that I would have a question on there that was very important, because all of the questions on there are very intentional. They would just put like not applicable or just completely skip the question completely. Like what what the hell? I had somebody answer, what was the question? It was something like how would you add value to Bluebird Tattoo? And she said, I honestly don't know. And I'm like, you didn't even try to answer that question. You put I don't know on an application? Come on. Did you really think you were going to get past the application process? I don't know. It's what 3 people said. But the point is, they're weeding themselves out. They're making these mistakes that I'm looking for, and I'm weeding them out. Like, they're not even making it to the interview process. I'm not going to waste my time with them, because if they're half-assing the application, they're going to half-ass the job. I know it. I don't have to learn it by experience. I already fucking know. They're a half-ass, and I want somebody who has high standards. And if you're looking for someone, if you're a tattoo shop owner or just an artist looking for someone to help you, you have to be really careful, because there's people that will apply for the job that are not qualified, and they just want to say that they work for a tattoo shop, or they want to be in the tattoo community or associated with it in some way because they think it's cool. not because they're actually good for the job. And there are people out there that are very good at getting through the application and getting through the interview process because they're just good at that stuff and they're not actually qualified for the job. So things that I look for is, when I ask what appeals to you about Bluebird Tattoo, and they answer things like, I love tattoos and hanging out, and I just want to like work in a place that's cool and has a cool vibe. Like, no, bye. We're not hanging out here. We're working. I mean, we are hanging out. It is fun, but we're here to work. We're all working hard. Like, we're not just getting paid to fucking sit around bullshit. I mean, yes, but no. You get what I mean. But stuff like that is a red flag to me. Like, if you're just trying to hang out at a tattoo shop, no, thank you. I want someone who wants to work. So once you get through your applications and you've got your people that you want to interview, you should be narrowing it down to just a handful of people, because you should know, like, it should be weeding out majority of the people. I think that, how many did I have? I probably had close to 80 applicants for this most recent position. And I narrowed it down to 4 people out of like 80 applications, because there was just that many people that just took themselves out. I didn't even have to do anything. But so I have 4 people that I'm interviewing. Before I even start the interview process, if I'm not ready with these things, then I'm not ready to interview. So you want to know what your values are. Even if you're not a business, even if you're not a shop and you're just a tattoo artist looking for someone to help you, like, get your schedule figured out, emails, whatever, it's still so important that you know what your values are, what's important to you, because everything you do is based around these values. So every single decision that you make, you should be checking in with your values, and especially when it comes to hiring someone, because this person is representing you. So if they're not representing you in a way that you want to be seen, that's not going to be a good fit. So you're looking for what their character is, and are they going to be a good culture fit for you? For Bluebird Tattoo, our values are integrity, ambition, customer focus, high standards, and positive mindset. And if the person that I'm trying to hire doesn't hit all of these points, they're not going to be a good fit. They're not going to work well here. And all of my questions in my interview are based around these values, because I'm trying to pull this information out of them as I'm interviewing them. You also need to know which skills are most important to you and what do they have to know versus what you're willing to train them. And you have to understand that there is a price difference in that. So if someone comes to you with these skills already, obviously they're going to be worth more money. They're going to cost more money. But if you don't have that money to pay, you might be willing to just train them with your time. So you're kind of trading money for time. So if you can't afford someone at the higher pay rate, then just understand that you're going to have to spend more time with them, and that may end up costing you in the long run. If you just come off of the money a little bit and just be willing to pay somebody, it can be a lot easier, but you have to really figure that out for yourself, what's worth it. If you really can't afford it, don't put yourself out, but just know that if you're paying someone less, you're going to get a less qualified person, and you're going to have to do a lot more training. And decide which things are more important to you. So you want somebody who is like really great at typing and writing, but they don't understand the programs that you use. Fine, you can train the programs, but honestly, in my experience, if you get somebody who is not a great typer and not good at spelling, you're not going to fix that. Like, please don't try. You're going to be spinning tires with that. Just understand what is most important. Like, can they speak to people in a way that doesn't sound short, sounds friendly and inviting, and through text, which is why it's so good to first communicate with people through email, because you can see how quickly they respond, how they're wording things. Do they sound friendly through email? If they're very like short, one word answering you and very slow to respond, for me, that's going to be a no. But if you're not doing email, that might not be important to you. So it just depends on what you're going to have them doing. So going back to, what is their job going to be? What is their responsibilities? What are they taking off of your plate? And making sure that their skills align with what you're going to have them do. So during the interview process, I'm asking really intentional questions. So the specific interview questions that are relating to my values and my mission at the shop, and knowing what my deal breakers are. I'm really trying to pull these things out of them. So every single question I have in my interview process is so incredibly I put so much thought and time into wording everything, because I want to try to almost trick them into showing me the red flags, which sounds fucked up. But if they're showing the red flags in the interview, it's a no for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to make them, to make sure they don't get the job if they don't deserve it. So I'm sort of trying to scare people away, but not really. I'm really just trying to bring out the best candidate for the position. So I'm going to ask questions that are going to really make them think and really, twist things around so that I'm asking the same question in a couple different ways, and their answers better match up, or I know that they're full of shit in some way. And everybody, exaggerates in their interview and they put on their best face and stuff. So, but you have to know what your deal breakers are. So are there certain personality traits that are going to interfere with them doing the job? Is there something some kind of hobby or sport that they play that's going to interfere with their availability? So if I need somebody who's going to be, getting off at 5, but sometimes they might have to stay late. If they have a job that they go to in the evenings, they have to be there at 6, that's not going to work for me. And I need to know this information. So I need to know that they're going to be available to me at all times. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good fit for me. Again, the spelling and grammar, is that something that is a deal breaker for you? If not, cool. But just make sure you know what those are before you even get into the interview, because we have a tendency to look past the red flags because, we want to fix them. Like, I can fix them. I can train it out of them. Guys, you can't. You cannot train it out of them. Their personality is their personality. And if you go into the interview knowing that this, and this is a no for me, if it comes up in the interview, that you're done here and you can just move on to the next applicant. A big one for me is attitude and gossip. So if they're showing any kind of attitude or negativity or shit talking or anything like that in an interview, it's a no. So I don't care if they worked for the devil himself. If their past employer was complete bullshit, I do not want to hear it in an interview. I don't want to hear the negativity. I don't want to hear the shit talking, because it's such a clear indication to what we have to look forward to. If they are letting that side show in an interview, it's a no. Just imagine, 6 months, a year down the road, what this person is going to be like when they're comfortable and they don't think that you're so harshly judging them anymore. Like, it's going to be so much worse. So any kind of little thing that you see that you're like, didn't really like that too much, could just consider that for 1 second, amplified 10 times, and see how you feel about it then. And make sure you're not hiring too quickly. It's really easy to get super excited about somebody. You really like their personality. They were really fun to talk to. You had a good time with them in the interview, which is weird to say, but I've definitely had people that I was like, oh, I really like her. Oh, she, there is this, and this, but I think personality wise, she's going to be great. And the fact is, I was just so excited about this person and had such a nice time talking with them that I did overlook those red flags and I did push them out and say I'll train it out of them. And it's honestly it's okay to like somebody, but also know that they're not the right fit for the position. If it's a maybe, it's a no, period. Every single time I've hired somebody that I was like, I think they'll be okay, it's been a no. We've come to the agreement now that if it's not a fuck yes, it's a no. We have to be excited to work with this person. We want them to be excited to work with us. And if we're just kind of take them or leave them, fucking leave them, because that's a person that it's never going to be the right fit. The right person is going to feel so much different. Panic hires never work out either. So if you are feeling like, I just have to get somebody in here, I can't afford to not have somebody, I got to find somebody right now, you are setting yourself up for a really hard time. Every single panic hire I've ever done, Didn't go well. Did not go well either. So it's so common, and you think in the moment that you're not you're like, no, it's not a panic hire. This is the right person. I'm not overlooking any red flags. And when it's all said and done and you've fired them, 4 months later, you're like, yep, the signs were there. And I definitely just rushed through that and panic hired them. Just take a breath. And this is why I do 2 interviews. So I'm doing the first interview, going through all these questions, whatever. And then I'm going to call them back. If I really like them, if they did well in the first interview, I'm going to call them back and ask them the same questions again. Going to ask the same questions, but different. So it's basically the same interview, and their answers have to match. If they don't match, something's up. They're either, exaggerating, they're flat out lying, or something's weird, and it's probably not going to be a good fit. But if you are not taking the time to do that second interview, you're missing the opportunity to find those things that are going to be telltale signs of what's really going on. So make sure you take your time, go through those steps, and make sure that it's the right fit before you give them the job. When you do find that person, it's going to be such a sigh of relief. Like, you're finally getting the help that you need. You're finally getting the free time, and you honestly won't even know what to do with it at first. It's so crazy. So when I hired my assistant, I'm going to tell this story because it's somewhat embarrassing, but I think it's necessary just so you can understand. I was drowning. I was in so much need of help, and I finally found my assistant, Valerie. She's incredible. Such a great help. I hired her. She started on Monday. I gave her a whole bunch of stuff to work on to just kind of get me out of the weeds. And that Friday, I ended up in the hospital. And that's not because of Valerie in any way, but kind of. So I gave her all of these things that were just weighing on me and I could not get to. I'm working full-time tattooing. I'm trying to run the business. I'm trying to do all these things, and there just wasn't enough of me to go around. And then all of a sudden I had somebody that could take 30 hours of work off of my plate a week, which is most of the stuff that I was doing, the extra stuff I was doing. And I found myself, turn around and I'm like, I don't have anything to do. What do I do with my time now? I have nothing. I guess I relax now? What? How do I even do that? It's been so long. I don't know how to relax. So I attempted to relax, and I started feeling sick, and I thought I had the flu, and I was slowly feeling worse and worse. And then I started getting to this point where, I couldn't get out of bed, and this lasted through the weekend. And the reason I ended up in the hospital, so, let me rewind a couple of years ago. I had been really sick, and I had COVID. And then afterwards, I started feeling better and ended up passing out. I stopped breathing, and my husband had to do CPR. They took me to the hospital and an ambulance, and they couldn't really find anything wrong with me. I think that I was severely dehydrated, and I think that, and I already have really low blood pressure just naturally, very, almost concerningly low. And then, when I'm dehydrated like that, it's very easy for me to get lightheaded and pass out. So I think that was what was going on, but they never really did say anything. So that happened a couple of years ago. So then when I started feeling sick this time, I was really I kept feeling like I was going to pass out again, and it kept happening and it wouldn't go away. And so I finally end up going to the hospital for it. Again, they couldn't figure anything out. So I go home, and I kept feeling like that. I go back to the hospital. They still couldn't figure it out. And what I realized by Sunday is that I wasn't sick. I wasn't about to pass out. I was having a panic attack. For 3 days straight, having a panic attack because I didn't know how to relax. And I can laugh about it now because it's been long enough, and it just seems so silly to me, and it's super embarrassing. But I never had a panic attack before. So I didn't know what was happening. And I think in my mind, like my body started like wearing down because it was like almost like juggling all of these things. And I'm trying to keep everything going. I'm busy. And then someone's like, here, let me take that from you. And then my body was like, I don't know what to do now. I have nothing to do. And, let me fall apart, So I just literally fell apart, and it's because I had nothing to do. But, and I'm not saying that like, oh, this is a bad thing that happened because like she took all the stuff from me and then I fell apart. My point is that I didn't know how much I was suffering. I didn't know how much I was drowning until somebody helped me and I could like stop for a minute, and all of a sudden I could feel my body and I could feel its effects on me over, however long I'd been just functioning that way. All of a sudden I could see all the damage that was being done. So that was a really huge wake up call for me. And I was able to, Sunday, by the time I realized what was going on, I was like, oh my God, that's so bad. This is so bad. I was living like this. And now that I have her taking this off of me, I can fucking breathe. And so I've had to like retrain myself to relax. And I'm going to be so honest with you. I still don't know how to do it. I still have a really hard time with it, but I'm learning still. And it's a good thing. And because it's not sustainable to live like that. And I've said it a million times. And, I'm really just saying it to myself. Like, if you guys listen and get something from it, too, cool. But really, I'm just trying to convince myself it's okay to relax. It's been great having her because I really was just like doing so much damage and not even acknowledging it or realizing it. So you're going to feel this sigh of relief. Hopefully yours will be less dramatic and traumatic, but they'll help you in ways you didn't even anticipate. So she's so good at seeing that I need help with something and just doing it and understanding that I need help and offering to help me with it. And once you find this person, you might start to feel regret. Like, why the fuck did I wait so long to hire somebody? And why do I have such a hard time asking for help? All the things that could have been done sooner, or things that they could have helped you with sooner, or projects that you wanted to get done but just didn't have the bandwidth to do them. And if you would have just hired somebody to help you, they could have been done by now. And you're really going to start to feel hopeful and see that the future is a little bit brighter, and projects that you've been dreaming of are going to start to become a possible reality for you. And you're going to start to get your life and your time back. And that's more important than anything and more valuable than anything. But don't give up too soon. If there's anything that I've learned over this last year alone, is if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. I hired someone and I spent so much time and effort into training them, and I really thought that I had the right person, and I put all this effort into it, and I wanted to make sure it was done perfectly, and it didn't work out. And I lost 4 months of my time. I don't want to say lost, because there was definitely lessons learned there, but I put in all this time training and had to then let them go. And instead of just like getting right back up there and like right back into it and finding another person to replace her, I was like, I need a minute. And then a minute turned into a year. And a year later, I finally decide, okay, I need help. I need to get this person, need to hire another one and start over. Maybe it did work out the way it was supposed to, because the person I have now is amazing, but all the wasted time. I could have had help. So don't give up. If it doesn't work out, take it as a learning lesson. Just learn what you can from it. What did you do wrong? Where could you fix it? What did you miss? What red flags did you overlook? And keep going. Keep trying. You already have the systems in place. You already know the job description and what they're going to be doing. Just keep rolling, and you will find that perfect person for you.